Trevor Eve. Well, now, there is a difference. We've been watching Sense of Guilt. Tell us about the beard, the old herbaceous boy.
Yes, I've got 2 weeks to go and 3 feet to grow, basically. I'm doing Charles Stewart Parnell. You've heard of him, Terry.
I know plenty about
yes.
Charles Stewart
Irish
Parnell.
politician.
More on the Ivy Leaf.
1880s, Home Rule.
Yeah.
For Ireland, land legislation.
How's your Irish accent?
He spoke perfect English.
What do you mean? The most perfect English in the world is spoken in Ireland.
That's true. That's true. No, he was Anglo-Irish aristocrat, and as was the form in those days, the aristocrats spoke the English of Westminster.
And is it a big one, this?
A big what?
A big series, the Parnell. It's a big beard. We know it's a big beard.
And, it's 4 hours of Irish history and panelism. I found out about you in Irish history. We've had lectures for 2 weeks.
Let's not go into that.
Do you want to know the truth
about
the Wogan family?
I don't think we want to hear that. It's a waste of time. Waste of time, that. There's no truth in it.
Yep.
Yes, and
Limerick.
my mother watches this program. One of the few.
My mother does, too.
She doesn't.
Yes, so there's 2 people watching tonight, anyway.
Well, that means
they should have got together.
The viewership's gone up by 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. She liked gin and tonic, your mother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, too much.
They'd be at home then together.
Right. What about this Sense of Guilt? The series you're doing at the moment. It does. There's a kind of. The popular press have got in amongst you, haven't they?
Yeah.
Because you're playing this raunchy.
Well, it's got a bit of sex in it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they ask you, They asked me how I researched the part. They said, you have a reputation for doing detailed research on the characters you play. So, flippantly and jokingly, I said, well, I did go out and make love to every 18-year-old that I came across. And they printed that, Well, and my mother was horrified. I mean, I meant it as a joke. Of course I didn't. I'm a married man. And my wife is, I think she's here, I'm not sure.
How did you meet your wife, incidentally? Over a cup of coffee? I'm sorry. Sorry, that was a cheap shot. That was yeah.
Do they ever boo? No?
No, oh yes.
They never boo?
Only my guests.
I am the villain of the piece. No, I met her in 1977. And we were doing a play together. And we met and we fell in love.
You know how to play on these people's emotions. It's a kind of stringed instrument.
Yeah.
How does she feel about these intimate scenes?
Well, they're a joke, really, those. It's just like doing any other scene, except you're horizontal and you haven't got any clothes on. I mean, you know what it's like,
Is it hard to exercise an iron self-control?
A what? An iron an iron self-control. That's an unfortunate turn of phrase.
Just a minute now. This is before the watershed.
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah. It's not. I mean, I don't know whether I'm missing something in these things, but to me, it's a giggle. I mean, the first question you ask when you kiss is with or without tongue, and it goes from there. I mean, you don't. It's not a cheap thrill. You have to get it right.
Yeah.
I mean,
how do you feel about exposing your body though to the public? They like the idea, but I mean, I'm not. How do you feel about it?
I'm shy, Terry.
Yeah. Most actors are.
Yeah, that's why we are. We're insecure, and we take acting to, overcome. It's like a therapy for us all, really.
I think I've heard those lines before from every other actor who's been here. The very first thing I think that most of the public would have seen you in was Shoestring. What was that, 79?
Funny seats, these, aren't they?
Yeah, you can't get comfortable. But anyway, we find it relaxes.
Yeah, but you got one with arms. I mean,
we find it relaxes the guests.
Yes, I know what you mean. Hi.
And then you slip slowly to the ground. But tell us about Shoestring, because that was the one that really made you a big television star, almost overnight. I mean, did that appeal to you at first, this story of a sort of
Yes, we didn't think that it was going to be a big success when we were doing it. Well, we didn't think it was awful when we were doing it, but we just did it as another program, and and I'd been on television before, so it wasn't, new to be on. But the success after the first episode was, I remember going out, I was in Liverpool at the time, because Sharon was working there, and I remember going out on the Monday, lunchtime, and going into a pub to have a packet of crisps. and being besieged by people that had watched it and loved it, and I didn't know what to do.
Did that have a bad effect on you?
No, it's just a shock that one day you can, wander anywhere and dress how you like and be a slob, and the next day you go out and it's like having 1,000 friends, and you don't always want to meet them,
Yeah. Did it have any effect on you? Did it make you want to get out of the limelight? Because
I didn't go into
when
a
you
shop
finished
for 2 years,
Shoestring, when you finished Shoestring, you didn't do much television after that for a little bit, did you?
No. What?
Was that a reason?
Someone said yes. I thought it was my.
Yeah.
No, I finished Shoestring to go into Children of a Lesser God, which was a play that was being done in New York that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I never saw Shoestring as being a long-term commitment. It was something that I enjoyed doing, but I thought I'd done it enough. I only ever did 21 hours of it. It wasn't.
Tell me about your work in the States.
Yeah.
Because you've managed to make the transition into the States with considerable success, haven't you? I mean, you've had a lot of work there.
Yes, I have. I've worked a lot there, and I've lived there for 2 years. And my son was born there.
Yeah.
He's the only man that can play cricket and be the president.
Yeah, so you're grooming him already, are you?
Absolutely, yeah.
But aren't they grooming you for a... Don't they see you less of a dramatic actor and more of a comedic actor there?
Yes.
What are they going to put you? Are they putting you into a comedy?
Well, I did a comedy series there, which we did 14 hours of, and it ran and closed, as everything does. I mean, there's very few things that run the whole 5 or 7 years. And then I did another comedy project, which Don Johnson produced, who you know from Miami Vice.
Yeah.
And they liked that idea. So they've sort of expanded. They take you out, you see, they test you demographically and find out if the public like the actor. And if they like you, then they build stuff around you. And I was demographically well tested. You feel like a tube of toothpaste, really, don't you?
Yeah, we like that flavor. That's good. That's
what sort of comedy series is it going to be? Have you any idea what?
Not absolutely, no.
And are you going to go back and...
I just know they've paid me half the money, so I have to go and do it.
What a terrific way, yeah.
No.
And supposing you don't do the series, do you give back the half?
Yes, absolutely. You've worked for them as well.
Really?
Yes.
We're not going to leave you because you're going to stay with us. But
Great.
For the moment, Trevor Eve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trevor. So Trevor is staying, and we're going to have music and talk from the maestro himself, Phil Collins, in a couple of bars. But it's a great pleasure to introduce now a lady who, like Trevor, won an Olivier Award for her part in Children of a Lesser God. In that, she played a deaf woman, and indeed, the lady is profoundly deaf. But she has learned to speak, and is currently playing the lead in the King's Head production of Hedda Gabler. Delighted to welcome Elizabeth Quinn.
Good to see you.
Now, you both appeared, Trevor, in Children of a Lesser God.
Yeah.
And in fact, when you were working in that, you didn't communicate with words.
Well, we use a sign. This is the first time we're speaking to each
That's
other.
right.
Isn't it? But we use a sign all the time. I didn't speak before. But now I'm speaking. It feels strange talking to you.
It does feel strange. I mean, it's my fault because I've forgotten really how to sign. I mean, I can only do
Well, it's not your fault because you haven't been signing with anyone.
8 years. 8 years. So it's like having not spoken French for 8 years and then suddenly meet a French person and you stop.
But mind you, it's only lately, as you say, that you have learned to speak.
Yes.
Obviously, because you wanted to act in the kind of thing you're doing, Hedda Gabler. But when you accepted the Olivier Award, you accepted it in sign language, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I didn't, at that time, I didn't feel that I could speak. And I had an interpreter with me, remember Jean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But a year later, when I was asked to present an award to the best director, I was encouraged to speak, and I took some voice lessons on how to say the word when I presented the award. But it wasn't until I did one of the interviews doing children that my interpreter said, "Elizabeth, I think you should speak." And I said, "But I don't think they can understand me, only people close to me." But she said, "No, I think you can." So I spoke, and I remember it was Valerie Grove for one of the newspapers. And I was amazed. She wrote down everything, and I was like, "Oh, I see, I'm intelligible." So it was then that I decided to take some voice lessons from a drama voice coach. And when I came back from Australia, a script came to do a speaking part. And I did it, and the reviews were wonderful. So, but it's been 18 months since I last worked. And when I was asked to do Hedda Gabler, I thought everybody was mad. Because in the first place, Maggie Smith did it, and Janice Sussman, and Glenda Jackson. And I thought, well, I can't do that. But then I thought, well, what have I got to lose? So now here I am.
Well, nothing. I mean, it will go down very well, Hedda Gabler, I'm perfectly certain, particularly with a brilliant actress like yourself. But you're an enormous example and figurehead, I'm sure, to very, very many deaf people. I mean, to take on to be an actress, first of all, and then determined to teach yourself or to learn how to speak.
Well, I think, I don't know if I am very popular with deaf people. I don't think they feel very happy for somebody speaking, because I think they feel sign language is very strong and that people should encourage sign language, which I agree. But I don't see myself as a part of a group or organization. I just see it as one world, and I'm a member of that world, and I choose to speak.
Was it easy for you to learn the sign language?
I went to no. It's like learning French, Spanish, any other language.
You were very quick in learning how to use the sign language.
I went to New York, and I spent, I suppose, 2 months.
Two months.
Now, tell me, because you're profoundly deaf and you're on stage in Hedda Gabler, how do you know your cues? How do you know when it's your turn to speak?
That's the question most asked.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I suppose I have to know the other actor's line. I don't memorize them, but I know roughly what they're talking about. And so it's almost internal, really.
Yeah, but you know. She used to ask me how the audience. She'd say, "Why are the audience like that tonight?"
Yeah.
And I'd say, "How can you hear?" You know, and they weren't like, they didn't laugh then. I'd say, "Well, how do you know?"
But as an actress, I think as an actor, it's one of your jobs to know and feel the audience, what they're thinking, what they're doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so,
but you knew what the audience. I mean, you knew.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but she
senses it. But what?
You'll have to come and see it, and you'll find out.
Well, I will. But what happens? What happens when you forget a line? You can't hear the prompt.
Well, it happened the last few nights. Some of the actors jumped their line, and I was able to bring it back. Now, if you ask me how I did that, I don't know, but I did. And yes, last night I almost cried. And I thought, oh my God, and then this actor realized what was happening to me, and then he helped me, and then we carried on. I mean, it's a team effort. The company I'm working with is wonderful. Yeah, and some of them speak so quickly, and I do have to be on the ball and come right on cue.
Do you think that we do enough for deaf people in this society? Do you think on television we do enough for deaf people, or do you think we help the deaf enough?
Well, what I would like to see happen in this country, as there are in America, is more captioning, more subtitles on
more captions.
Films and television, on films and plays on television. And also what I would like to see is for deaf people to go into any video shop and hire a video with subtitles, like they do in America. But apparently they lack funds here But they need more funds.
But also in the theatre, I think what could happen in the West End is that one show a week should be signed. Should be a signed performance.
That's right.
Which
there's a lot of that.
in New York
a
they
couple
do
of
that.
times a month. But here, there's not enough of that. I think they lack funds or something. I don't know. And I would like to see more of that. And if I can help, I'd like that.
Do you miss hearing applause?
Pardon me.
Do you miss hearing applause when people applaud you?
I don't hear it. Is there applause now?
No.
I
There
think-
is now. Tell me, were you born deaf?
No, I was born hearing.
Yeah.
Which is why I think I can speak. You know, it's different from people who were born deaf.
Yeah.
But I had a moment at 2, which resulted in nerve deafness.
I see.
And I became deaf.
What made you, knowing that you were deaf, what ambition drove you to be an actress?
My brother was a singer and a dancer, and he was a film and theatre buff, and he interpreted films and theatre for me. And but not only did he interpret the lines, but he explained what they meant, because English is my second language, American Sign Language is my first language, and I think he instilled the artistic love for the entertainment world. But I didn't believe I'd ever become an actress because I'm too shy.
So is he.
Yeah. No, we're both shy.
Too. Shy people make very good
That's
performers.
what I told him.
Oh,
He's shy.
We're all shy. The audience is shy.
Try and get a word out of him in hospitality.
It's not easy.
Not easy.
Now, I have to say that we must let you go because you've got to get over to the theatre,
Yeah.
and you're in the Hedda Gabler delightful costume. And we wish you every success, of course, with it.
you,
Delighted you could
Terry.
come. And thank you, Trevor, for being here. Success in
Thank you.
America and here. Continued success to you.
Thank you.